This is going to be a reading of Melchizedek and the Mystery of Fire by Manly P. Hall. The introduction. The elaborate rituals of the ancient mysteries and the simpler ceremonials of modern religious institutions had a common purpose. Both were designed to preserve, by means of symbolic dramas and processionals, certain secret and holy processes by the understanding of which man may more intelligently work out his salvation. The pages which follow will be devoted to an interpretation of some of these allegories according to the doctrine of the ancient seers and sages. Every man has his own world. He dwells in the midst of his little universe as the Lord and ruler of the constituent parts of himself. Sometimes he is a wise king, devoting his life to the needs of his subjects, but more often he is a tyrant, imposing many forms of injustice upon his vassals, either through ignorance of their needs or thoughtlessness concerning the ultimate disaster that he is bringing upon himself. Man's body is a living temple, and he is a high priest placed there to keep the house of the Lord in order. The temple of the ancients were patterned after the human form, as a study of the ground plan of either the sanctuary at Karnak or the St. Peter's Church at Rome will prove. If the places of initiation were copies from the body of man, the rituals which were given in the various chambers and passageways symbolized certain processes taking place in the human body. Freemasonry is an excellent example of a doctrine intimating by means of pageants and dramas that the regeneration of the human soul is largely a physiologic and biologic problem. For this reason, the craft is divided into two parts: speculative and operative masonry. In the lodge room, masonry is speculative, for the lodge is only a symbol of the human organism. Operative masonry is a series of mystic activities taking place within the physical and spiritual organisms of those who have assumed its obligations. The possession of the occult keys to human salvation through the knowledge of self is the goal for which the wise of all ages have labored. It was the hope of possessing these secret formulae that strengthened the candidates who struggled valiantly through the dangers and disappointments of the ancient initiations, sometimes actually giving their lives in the quest of truth. The initiations of the pagan mysteries were not child's play. The Druid priests consummated their initiatory ritual by sending their candidates out upon the sea in a small, unseaworthy boat. Some never returned from this adventure, for if a squall happened to arise, the boat was immediately capsized. In Central America, at the time when the Mexican Indian mysteries were in their glory, candidates seeking light were sent into gloomy caverns armed with a sword and were told that If for a second they relaxed their vigilance, they would meet a horrible death. For hours the neophytes wandered, beset with strange beasts, which seemed even more terrible than they actually were because of the darkness of the caverns. Neophytes means new brother. At last, wearied and almost discouraged, the wanderers found themselves on the threshold of a great lighted room cut from the natural rock. As they stood, not knowing which way to turn, there was a whir of wings, a demoniacal cry, and a great figure with the wings of a bat and the body of a man passed swiftly just over the candidates' heads, swinging it in its hands a great sword with a razor-like edge. This creature was called the Bat God. Its duty was to attempt to decapitate the ones seeking entrance to the mysteries. If the neophytes were off their guard or too exhausted to defend themselves, they died on the spot. But if they had presence of mind enough to ward off this unexpected blow or jump aside in time, the Bat God vanished, and the room was immediately filled with priests who welcomed the new initiates and instructed them in the secret wisdom. The identity of the Bat God has been the basis of many arguments. For a while, it appears many times in Mexican art and the illuminated codices. No one knew who or what it actually was. It could fly over the heads of the neophytes and was the size of a man, but it lived in the depths of the earth and was never seen save during the mysteries. Although it occupied an important position in the Mexican Indian pantheon, the mysteries of Mithras were also tests of real courage and perseverance. In the rites, the priests disguised as wild beasts and weird composite animals attacked the aspirants who were passing through the gloomy caverns in which the initiations were given. Bloodshed was not unusual, and many lost their lives striving for the great arcanum. When the Emperor Commodus of Rome was initiated into the Mithraic cultus, being Commodus of Rome, a remarkable swordsman, he defended himself so valiantly that he killed at least one of the priests and wounded several others. In the Sabazian mysteries, a poisonous serpent was placed upon the breast of the candidate who failed in his initiation if he showed any sign of fear. These incidents from the rituals of the ancients gave an inkling of the trials through which seekers after truth were forced to pass in order to reach the sanctuary of wisdom. But when we estimate the wisdom which they received, if successful, we realize that it was worth the dangers. For from between the pillars of the gates of mystery came forth Plato and Aristotle and hundreds of others, bearing true witness to the fact that in their day the word was not lost. The tortures of initiation and the severe mental and physical tests were intended to serve as a process for eliminating those unfit to be entrusted with the secret powers which the priests understood and communicated to their new initiates at the time of their raising. Those who hung on crosses for 9 hours until they became unconscious, as Apollonius of Tyana initiated in the Great Pyramid, would never reveal the secret teachings through fear of bodily torture, and such as obeyed the order of Pythagoras, that unless they remained silent, speaking to no man for 5 years, they could not enter his school, were not likely to reveal through thoughtless indiscretion any part of the mystery which it was forbidden that the foolish should know, because of the great care used in selecting and testing applicants, and the remarkable ability to read human nature displayed by the priests. There never was one who betrayed the more important secrets of the temple. For that reason the word remained lost to all save those who still complied with the requirements of the ancient mysteries. For the law was, to such as live the life the doctrine is revealed. It is unlawful to reveal to the uninitiated the key links to the chain of the mysteries. It is permissible, however, without breach of confidence, to explain certain of the lesser secrets, a consideration of which it will not only vindicate the integrity of the older hierophants, but will also reveal part of the divine mystery of man's nature. The fact cannot be too strongly emphasized that regardless of claims to the contrary, the operative arcanum of the temple has never been revealed to the public. A few candidates who went but a little way along the path and who either became discouraged or were eliminated because of their failure to be honest with themselves, have attempted to expose what they knew, but the inherent weakness which prompted them to betray was recognized by their instructors. Therefore, they were given nothing which could actually supply a link to connect the outer teachings with the wisdom of the sanctuary, the world within man, not the world without, was the concern of the mysteries of antiquity. Hence, we are apt to look upon the priests of old as ignorant when compared to ourselves. But while the modern world is mastering the visible universe and raising a colossal civilization, it is ignorant in the fullest sense of the word concerning the identity of that mysterious lodestone of power in the midst of every living thing, without which no investigation could be conducted and no cities built. Man is never truly wise until he has fathomed the riddle of his own existence, and the temples of initiation are the only repositories of that knowledge. A knowledge which will enable him to unfasten the Gordian knot of his own nature. Still, the great spiritual truths are not so deeply concealed as might be supposed. Most of them are exposed to view at all times, but are not recognized because of their concealment in symbol or allegory. When the human race learns to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of man. They shall then know the truth, and more than that, they shall realize that from the beginning, truth has been in the world unrecognized, save by the small but gradually increasing number appointed by the lords of dawn as ministers to the needs of human creatures struggling to regain their consciousness of divinity. The supreme arcanum of the ancients was the key to the nature and the power of fire. From the day when the hierarchies first descended upon the sacred island of the polar ice cap, it has been decreed that fire should be the supreme symbol of that mysterious, abstract divinity which moves in God, man, and nature. The sun was looked upon as a great fire burning in the midst of the universe. In the burning orb of the sun dwelt the mysterious spirits controlling fire. And in honor of this great light, fires burned upon the altars of countless nations. The fire of Zeus burned upon Palatine Hill, the fire of Vesta upon the altar of the home, and the fire of aspiration upon the altar of the soul. When I come back, it'll be part 1 of Melchizedek and the Mystery of Fire, given to us by Manly P. Hall. He was a 32nd degree Mason or a 33rd degree Mason, I'm not sure. After I finish it, I'll do about the author. I appreciate everybody who tunes in. Thank you.